CEO of DARIOHEALTH. I'm glad you're able to join us and talk about the technologies that your company, digital therapeutics and solutions that you're using there at Dario. Tell us more. The stock's up about 14% for this month of October, folks.
Hi, Nicole, and thanks for having me here. Yes.
The solution, why is this important for the company now?
Yes, so as follows to...
5 things, as you mentioned: diabetes, hypertension, and the rest.
Yeah, so we think that in order to scale up treatment for chronic condition management, we must be...
Right. I do want to talk about how the country, I mean, I guess the world, is getting back to somewhat of a normal place when we talk about all these medical conditions after the pandemic. But first, I want to talk about the development of Dario. When we talk about 2011, and it was a B2C company, now it's 10 years later. What are your predictions for what the company becomes? You made a couple of acquisitions, how the whole platform has changed and developed.
Yeah, so we're very consistent with the message.
Size national employer, right? And getting these recognition from the National Health Plan with that agreement. I mean, this is wonderful for your company. So now, as we return to a more normal sort of life going forward, your goal is to hit up some of these mid-sized companies and providing for all the different issues, right? It's not just one issue. It must help you that you hit up, 5 much needed points of care.
Yes, and this is something that is very interesting that we see in the market.
For those new agreements now that you've attained, it's wonderful to see you, Dr. Erez Raphael, CEO of DarioHealth. Great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Coming up next, the disruptors. George on his radar. George, this stock had a big gap up after the May earnings. It's at a new high today, an exciting one to watch. Why is Zscaler on your radar?
Yeah, Nicole. Well,
to, I guess, fully no, because, compared to certain names in the group, really outperforming versus being a little closer to some of the others, and the stock's at a new high.
It is. So there's a couple of ways you can look at this. Now, if you go back and look to around mid...
George, thank you for that. A great explanation, right? And Zscaler is such a hot stock. You think of cloud, you think of security, software as a service. I mean, this area has been certainly in favor. Zscaler, thank you. The disruptor of the day, George Silas. Thank you.
You bet, Nicole. Thank you.
Of data and indexes at CoinDesk. I'm glad you're both here. Let's start with you, Catherine, looking at Bitcoin, which did hit all-time highs, right? We finally got that BITW ETF, which actually doesn't trade Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin futures. Is there something more now? Is it heading up? Is there another ETF? Because I know there are a lot behind it.
Nicole, nice to see you. Oh yes, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and I see how it's also doing well along with the product, along with crypto itself, Bitcoin. Jody, tell me more as you're watching the moves here and this ETF.
Well,
other crypto assets that people could be involved in as well, and you think it's just the beginning for crypto overall, right?
Yeah, we do, and we're in constant dialogue with...
More about Bitcoin 100,000, either of you?
We hear about it, sure. And
Jody, investment partners, and Kevin Green, Senior Derivatives Manager over at Charles Schwab. Thank you both for being with us. Kevin Riley, I'll start with you. Your expectations from the report for a company that has so many headwinds, easy to line up those headwinds.
Well, it sure is, Nicole, and thanks for having us on today. We appreciate it.
And Kevin Green, as we take a look at this, I know you were focusing on the valuations as well. I was seeing how it is trading at the widest spread from Google, and it's also underperforming the S&P 500. So when you take a look at a valuation standpoint, it certainly has been underperformer and beaten down. That being said, what are you looking at, Kevin Green, when it comes to the options market for this?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
That really is a hit to a name like Facebook and the rest of them as well. Snap obviously got hit hard on Friday, took the group down. Kevin, as you take a look here at this underperformer, there's just so many things, right? You mentioned Kevin Green mentioned the whistle, another person out there. It's also a catch-22 because as they come out with these quarterly numbers, right, they want to make money, right? That's what the whole argument is about, that these whistleblowers are saying. So if they come out with a great report, is it at the expense of folks, right? That they didn't, do their job protecting folks, and it shows that they're so money hungry and did incredibly well. So there's a real disconnect here of how they have to handle this at the same time while changing their name. Kevin Riley.
Yeah, well, Facebook gets a lot of
engagement of millennials and Gen X, which, millennials, we sort of knew millennials and younger folks were hot on Snap and all that. But the Gen X, that's really not good news, right? Because that's a big part of it. Kevin Green, when you take a look here, I think the volatility in the stock is notable too, right? Because it was up 7% over the last 6 months, but then down 6% over the last 1 month. When you look at the trade or you look at the charts, you talked about the options market trying to factor in a move.
Yeah, we've seen them.
I have no time. Does anybody have a new name? You got one? Anybody?
no.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, Kevin Green, Charles Schwab, Kevin Riley, Exponential Investment Partners. Thank you both. Yeah, I don't have a new name either. We'll have to see. Thank you.